Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have more Mothman stories, folks. This time, I have one from Texas and another, once again, from Chicago, Illinois, folks. Let's get into the first article today. Dark-winged entity spotted over St. Joseph Cemetery in River Grove, Illinois, and hear exactly how yet another Mothman was seen. This time, once again, over a cemetery, which seems to be something that happens in, Chicago, Illinois, folks. People seeing Mothman and, UFOs over some cemeteries, at least, I think. Let's continue, though. On an April morning in 2022, a Franklin Park resident witnessed a fast-moving black-winged figure soaring above a historic cemetery in suburban Chicago. The brief sighting occurred in an area already associated with repeated reports of winged humanoids, raising questions about whether it was an isolated event or part of a larger pattern still unfolding. The witness, identified as R.C., resides in Franklin Park, Illinois, and has closely followed reports connected to the Chicago winged humanoid phenomena. On April 20th, 2022, R.C. had the day off from work and was traveling eastbound along West Belmont Avenue near River Road with his fiancée at approximately 9 o'clock a.m. His fiancée was driving while he was seated in the passenger seat. As they passed St. Joseph Cemetery, R.C. looked out the window and noticed a dark object floating high above the cemetery grounds. At first glance, he assumed it might be a drone. However, as he continued to observe the object's movement, he realized it did not resemble any aircraft or bird he was familiar with. The object appeared entirely black and distinctly winged. No head or additional features were visible. The wings were not flapping, yet the entity moved at extreme speed, cutting through the sky at a sharp upward angle before disappearing into the cloud cover. R.C. shouted to his fiancée, asking if she could see it, but by the time she looked up, the object had nearly vanished because she was focused on driving. She did not get a good, clear view and dismissed the sighting. R.C. immediately stated that he had just seen the same winged being, commonly known as the Chicago Mothman. Initially, R.C. hesitated to report the encounter that changed after he later viewed a video report involving a father and daughter in Bensonville who described seeing 3 similar black flying figures. Although R.C. observed only a single entity, he stated that the object in the video closely matched what he saw. R.C. did not capture a photograph or video due to the distance and speed of the object, stating that it would have appeared as nothing more than a small dot. Several days after the incident, he created a simple drawing on his phone to document the shape of the figure as he remembered it. Now, what is particularly interesting about R.C.'s account here, folks, is that he basically describes a classic Mothman, exactly as he was described from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, who often is described back in the 60s as having no head but glowing eyes. Now, he didn't say he saw glowing eyes in his report. R.C. said that he saw no head on this entity, so that is very relevant. It could be that he saw some sort of drone, perhaps, folks, because he did say that the entity, its wings weren't flying, so could that be an indicator? But he definitely says he saw a humanoid or semi-humanoid thing here, folks. At least that's the feeling I get. I mean, he did say that it looked like what he would think, or basically what he thinks is a Mothman. But the fact that this guy did know about it, maybe that colored his, description of this entity, folks. We don't know, because he did seemingly know about Mothman. Either way, let's move on to the next article, folks, which is named Stationary Storm Cloud and Winged Entity Encounter near Lake Casablanca, Laredo, Texas, and read how Mothman has basically made its way down south, folks. Let's hear about this account now and hear about this winged humanoid encounter, folks. Let's get into it now and hear exactly what the witnesses saw. So let's continue. In 1997, a high school student in Laredo, Texas, observed an enormous storm-like cloud that appeared to remain fixed in place for an entire day, producing silent internal lightning and unnatural wind. What followed later that evening was an alarming indoor encounter involving a strange winged creature, leaving the witnesses convinced the cloud itself was not natural. Reports of stationary clouds associated with anomalous activity continue to surface across decades, raising unsettling questions about what may hide in plain sight. Let's actually read the full story now, folks. The witness recalls that the event occurred in 1997 while she was a 10th grade student attending Nixon High School in Laredo, Texas. One morning, as she arrived at school with a friend, she noticed an enormous cloud in the distance near Lake Casablanca. It resembled a dark storm cloud, yet it was the only cloud visible in an otherwise clear blue sky on a bright, sunny day. Indeed. That is sort of strange, folks. It just seems like this cloud wasn't moving. Was it more than a cloud? Perhaps maybe it was a vessel, a UFO? Let's read on, and maybe we'll discuss this point later. At the end of the school day, she was startled to see the same cloud still in the exact position. It had not drifted or dissipated by that time. A few smaller clouds had begun forming around it, but the large central cloud remained stationary. Later that evening, while spending time at her friend's house, the wind began to intensify in an unusual way. It did not feel natural, but rather artificial and controlled. Around 8 o'clock p.m., the witness returned home. Her house sat among 4 closely spaced properties, and she had to walk up a steep driveway behind another home to reach it. As she approached, the side door of the neighboring house suddenly swung open with force, slamming against the wall. Her 2 brothers and a neighborhood child came running out in a panic. Moments later, while sitting at a cement picnic table outside her own home, she looked up and saw the same strange cloud now positioned directly overhead. The cloud appeared dense and storm-like, illuminated internally by silent lightning. The flashes had no thunder or sound, and the cloud appeared orangish and unnatural. The witness compared the visual effect to a plasma globe where light moves silently within a contained field. Wind poured down from the cloud in a swirling motion, yet it felt gentle rather than violent, despite its intensity. At the same time, her brothers explained why they had fled the house. One brother stated that while watching television, he suddenly felt as though he was being watched. When he turned around, he saw a creature standing inside the house. He described the entity as having folded wings or wing-like appendages, glowing red eyes, and large upright ears resembling those of a rabbit. Its legs bent backward in an unnatural, almost cartoon-like way, which he later compared to exaggerated animated movement. The creature ran down the hallway into one of the bedrooms. After alerting the others, the group armed themselves and approached the room. Before they could open the door, they heard a loud crash and the sound of objects breaking. Terrified, they immediately ran out of the house. The brother later confirmed that he had also noticed the strange cloud earlier that day. The family came to believe that the cloud itself may have been a disguised craft and that the creature had emerged from it. The witness notes that although no immediate illness occurred, her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer the following year. Years later, the witness encountered a video online showing a cloud that appeared identical to what she had seen, and reinforcing her belief that the event was not natural. Could it be that the cloud was some sort of disguised UFO? Some sort of craft or portal even? Because people have speculated about a similar phenomena as well, where UFOs will literally go into clouds, and when the cloud disappears, folks, soon after, the UFO is gone as well. Could that be what this cloud was, folks? But what about also the other startling thing about this story, folks, that the mother was later diagnosed a year later with breast cancer, almost like stories from the late 60s from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where people were seeing Mothman right before the Silver Bridge collapse. And later on, people said that it was apparently their thinking, or in their thoughts, that Mothman was a herald, a harbinger of the said Silver Bridge collapse. Could this be exactly what happened here, folks? Mothman was warning this family that something dire was happening, or going to happen, to their mother. Right now, folks, we can basically only, theorize on that fact. The fact that it lines so closely with basically the Point Pleasant bridge collapse, almost like a herald, makes you think, folks. I mean, this entity did have glowing red eyes, like the classic Mothman description as well, folks. And much like with the first account we read, basically with, the resemblance, or basically the fact that the entity had no head, that RC said that he saw, this Mothman aligns very closely with the classic Point Pleasant, West Virginia encounters. So very interesting. So why did Mothman appear? Why was he appearing in Chicago? As I said before, folks, is he a harbinger of something going on there? And what about down in Texas, folks? Does he have some sort of link with UFOs? Because he might have appeared out of this possible, disguised craft or portal that was stationary in the sky, folks, like so many other accounts? Perhaps. Either way, a truly intriguing story we've read today, folks. In fact, both of them are. But we're now at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure you hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.